Hello, good afternoon. From the very early morning, we are familiar with precision agriculture in indoor farming. Worth mentioning here, precision agriculture is very mature in livestock and indoor agriculture. The open field precision agriculture is thriving over time, mainly focused on the large scale farming in the United States, Australia, Canada, and medium scale farming in the European Union and the United Kingdom. So what would be the precision agriculture for smallholder context in case of arable open field farm? Let's have a tour on the precision agriculture for smallholder. Here I'm presenting our research entitled Economics of Labor Saving Agritech for Smallholder Farms, considering the context of Bangladesh. Worldwide, there are 500 million smallholder farms, and these smallholder farms are in mechanization loop. For example, Bangladesh has a very long mechanization history, mainly concentrated on irrigation, land preparation, and post harvest operations. Other intercultural operations, planting, weeding, fertilizer, and pesticide applications, are yet to be mechanized, even though it seems that pesticide and herbicide application is mechanized, which is far away from the world mechanized spraying systems, that is mounted and trailed broom spraying system. This mechanization, locally known mechanization, actually refers backpack strapped knapsack system, which is very manual labor intensive system. Another bottleneck for Bangladesh agriculture is the employment in agriculture sector. Just after Japan, the percentage employment in agriculture in Bangladesh is very low, and this trend is drastically declining over time. The youth, mainly the educated youth, are even the uneducated youth, are very reluctant to typical agriculture as a career. Rather, they prefer non-farm agricultural linkages. So the point is, who will farm in the coming days, and who will ensure the food self-sufficiency of these smallholders' growing population? This study try to guide the different mechanization scenario economics, considering systems analysis from planting to harvesting operations. Here we hypothesized that whole farm retrofitted two-wheel machines, that is small machines for autonomy, would make smallholder farming profitable as compared to the partial mechanization, that is only mechanized delays and keeping other operations manual, or mechanized delays or mechanized harvesting, keeping other operations manual, or mechanized delays, planting and harvesting, keeping other operations manual. This partial mechanization is typical in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh is trying to promote whole farm mechanization, which is actually posed by the both the supply and demand stakeholder perspective. But the uh, cost-effective paths for whole farm mechanization is not yet guided with policy, evidence-based policy guidelines. This study modeled 3-hectare farm, considering the context of water-stressed, drought-prone Rajshahi division. 3-hectare farm is known as a medium farm in Bangladesh. This study adopted the hands-free hectare linear programming model. This model originally adopted from the Purdue crop livestock model, widely used all over the world, including the United States, United Kingdom, Brazil, Colombia, Thailand, and the African countries. We modeled 5 mechanization scenarios. Here, the first scenario considered only mechanized delays, keeping other operations manual. The second scenario considered mechanized delays with mechanized harvesting, keeping other operations manual. And the third scenario considered mechanized delays, mechanized planting, and mechanized harvesting, keeping other operations manual. Worth mentioning here, these mechanization are the ongoing mechanization in Bangladesh. This is very typical mechanization Bangladesh experienced over the period of 5 decades, and these two mechanizations is evolving and the supply stakeholders, even the demand stakeholders adopting this type of mechanization nowadays. Still, there is enough room for Bangladesh to mechanize more considering the present condition. Here, we also modeled whole farm mechanization with human drivers, and another scenario we modeled is whole farm low cost retrofitted machines for autonomy, that is, retrofitting the existing machines with autonomy gadgets, considering the experience of the hands-free hector farm in the UK. Here, the drivers can standing aside of the field or operate remotely. Uh, Here, we only install the retrofitting gadgets and keeping the existing machines. So we are trying to advocate some Bangladesh type low-cost retrofitting. The baseline results found that Bangladesh, considering the existing context, which we considered for 2022 data, which is the most updated data, nationally representative data for Bangladesh, we found that Bangladesh should consider whole farm mechanization to farm profitably. Uh, Worth mentioning here, still Bangladesh is relying on the partial mechanization. This is the three scenarios. The first scenario is only mechanized tillage, others manual. And the second scenario is mechanized tillage and mechanized harvesting, other manual. And the third scenario is mechanized tillage, planting and harvesting, and other operations manual. The interesting finding is that even if we could hire a labor per day with 500 taka, approximately 500 taka, it's really challenging for Bangladesh to farm profitably, uh, implying that hiring a labor with 500 taka is really an unprofitable options for Bangladesh with the existing mechanization scenarios. Uh, Still, to operate the whole farm with these existing three scenarios, Bangladesh needs substantial amount of labor, at least 500, 250 labor per month should be available. That means per hectare, approximately 100 labor per month should be available to farm these under the existing sandwich type mechanized and manual system. So it's really challenging to hiring such substantial labor per month. So the indication is that even with the existing scenario, Bangladesh existing mechanization paths are not profitable. Uh, just to point out here, this automation has good potentials for Bangladesh. In this case, we didn't consider subsidy interventions, even though this scenario considers subsidy interventions because till 2022, some advanced machines like transplanting, reaper, these are under subsidy programs, government subsidy programs. So if subsidy is considered for sensors and other retrofitting gadgets, then this could be a profitable options for Bangladesh. The point is that this is the main striking point for Bangladesh. This low-cost automation could be work as a youth entry policy for Bangladesh. Bangladesh could consider agriculture as an industry where youth, even the educated youth, could participate because they less likely want to be a tractor driver, rather they try to be a drone pilot, or they will try to be a smart driver standing remotely or sitting remotely or aside the farm. So Bangladesh has enough room to think ahead about the whole farm mechanization. Even I will suggest that as a youth entry policy, whole farm automation could be promoted. This will make a rural reinvigoration. Again, we try to check what would be the sensitivity if we consider doubling wage rate, because we know that hiring a labor per day with 500 taka is really a very challenging job. Currently, farmers have to pay approximately 800 to 1000 taka per day. So that scenario is not feasible nowadays because wage rate is increasing. So with doubling wage rate, the same findings we found here, that whole farm mechanization with human driver, even with subsidy, the whole farm automation could be the low-hanging fruit for Bangladesh to think ahead. Otherwise, it's really challenging for Bangladesh to farm. If we look at this, the existing three scenarios are really unprofitable considering the present scenarios for Bangladesh. So the future policy got an evidence about the transitions for mechanization and whole farm automation to link with the smart farming strategy or smart farming transition, linking with fourth agricultural revolution or fourth industrial revolution with a macro level focus. Now, the question I really know that you are looking for my answer whether the future agriculture of Bangladesh is autonomous or not. Uh, the point is that it's difficult to give you some binary answers with yes, no. I have to know how much labor per month are available and what is the wage rate. So, considering the existing scenario, it found that Bangladesh should think about whole farm mechanization with human driver, even in medium to long term, Bangladesh really have to think about the whole farm automation due to the increasing oil rate and really Bangladesh if want to consider agriculture as an industry. Again, this is a work in progress. We are concentrating, we are evaluating and analyzing other scenarios as well to guide Bangladesh national agricultural mechanization policy and national agriculture policy with evidence-based policy suggestions. The other future research scope we are thinking and we are trying to incorporate and what would happen if the labor is more binding, if it's difficult to hire labor, 100 per month, what would be the economics of changing the crop growing seasons? That is, most of the crops are concentrated on the Rabi season, that is the winter season. We have two more seasons, Kharif 1 and Kharif 2. So there are some agronomic modification or development about the, for instance, different season crop. Soybean and maize could be grown in other seasons except the Rabi seasons. So the economics of understanding these seasonal variation would be interesting. Bangladesh need to answer whether to adopt or what would be the economics of two-wheel and four-wheel machines. We are focusing on these because Bangladesh has a very long history of booming two-wheel machines, and apart with these four-wheel machines is promoted by the expert considering the land and labor productivity. But the question is, what would be the economics if we consider field size and shape for small and large machines? So we are also trying to consider field geometry. So hope future research will consider the field geometry issue in our analysis. Finally, I would like to thank my funders, International Growth Center, for funding our research and believing on us. Acknowledgement goes to London School of Economics and University of Oxford for their constructive criticism throughout submitting documents, initial reports, and we are preparing for the draft report. This research is presented on the seventh symposium on Agritech Economics for Sustainable Futures, which was held in the University of Reading. And this research is also presented in the fourth annual general meeting organized by the National Young Academy of Bangladesh. Please feel free to raise question. And to know more about our research, I would suggest you please do visit our lab, which is ASET, Hub for Smallholders Agritech Economics. From this platform, we are trying to guide Bangladesh agricultural policy with evidence-based decision. We are trying to help arable farming, open field arable farming, to maximize profit and considering reconciling environmental goals of arable farming. Thank you for your patience hearing.